GS1. GS2. Okay, GS2 constitutional morality question is there. Was it answerable with respect to whatever we have taught in class? Okay. If answerable, then good. If not, then I'll see. What is the question?
Morality is included in the Constitution itself and is founded on its essential principles. Explain the doctrine of morality from
Same thing, right? We can easily write it. Okay, we can easily write it. Okay, it is rooted out of the Constitution, and okay, it's aspects you have to write, and how judiciary has reaffirmed constitutional morality. So some Supreme Court judgments, while teaching polity, the polity faculty will talk about the judgments too. Okay, I have given some judgments like Sabarimala judgment. Okay, then I have given the example of this Naj Foundation judgment. So those things, they are okay part of the constitutional morality. So that way you can write. Okay, Jalika to Supreme Court judgment. Okay, then apart from the Triple Talaq judgment was one more judgment. So those judgments, they are shaping the morality. Okay, constitution based morality. They are trying to shape the social ethics. Yes, so that is what they are trying to do. Yes. Okay, how was the paper 4? Doable or not doable? Decent. Okay, I didn't check it as of yet. Okay, I'll see today, and after that, anyhow, I wanted to tell one more thing. Okay, most of the test questions have been discussed by our team. Okay, the polity faculty that we didn't introduce you guys to as of yet. Okay, he has talked about the polity questions. You can watch his session. Okay, he is a great academician who was in academic field for the past 20 years. He is the senior most faculty among us. Okay, and he is damn good. I have interacted with him. Okay, repose your full trust in him. He is superb. Okay, I'm telling you, he is superb, and he is a professor. Okay, he's a professor of law, and he is very good. Okay, you watch his discussion once. Okay, you'll understand. His name is Vikash Mishra. Okay, then apart from that, geography has been done by Sandeep sir. Okay, history I'll do. Okay, because I'm busy with classes, I'm not getting time to do it. And essay also we did one discussion yesterday. Okay, I think we have done a discussion on this issue. I discussed 2 essays along with Mrityunjay sir. Mrityunjay sir has done 2. Okay, and rest of the things also we'll discuss. So the entire paper we are going to discuss, even case studies, ethics questions, everything we are going to discuss. Please follow it. Okay, please follow it and see it. Okay, see it and try to understand the essence. Okay, what we are trying to teach. Okay, you should understand the essence. That is very important. Okay, so that is the thing. And now we'll move to the topic of Upanishads. Okay, Upanishads. Upanishads are the philosophical part of Vedas. It is the philosophical part of Vedas. And Upanishads, when it comes to Upanishads, Upanishads have some key ideas to them. Okay, key ideas to them. So we will discuss these key ideas, and in total there are 108 Upanishads. Okay, in total there are 108 Upanishads. And each Veda is associated with one or the other Upanishad. Okay, we have Upanishads like Katha Upanishads. Okay, then can you name some Upanishads? Okay, just now we have talked about Jabalaka. Yes? No? Jabalaka Upanishad we didn't talk about. Satyameva Jayate is part of which Upanishad? Mundaka. Okay, Mundaka, Kena, Katho, okay, Jabalaka. This way there are n number of Upanishads. In total there are 108 Upanishads, and all these Upanishads, they revolve around a central philosophy or core ideology which can be asked as a mains question independently. You put a mark called M here. This can be asked as a mains question in itself, because Upanishadic ideology, it forms foundation for the later day emergence of various Indian philosophical schools. In fact, Buddhism, Jainism, okay, Ajivikas, Charvakas, all of them, they take their ideology from Upanishads. Okay, they take their ideology from Upanishads, and by the time of Upanishads, some people, okay, some saints and sages, they started rejecting the materialism of Vedas. Okay, Vedas are based on materialism. Okay, you want to fulfill your aspirations in life. That is why you are doing sacrifices and rituals. So some sages and saints, they rejected the ideas of materialism which are present in Upanishads. Okay, and the term Upanishad means, the meaning of Upanishad is to sit and learn. Okay, to sit and learn is the meaning of Upanishad. And Upanishads were developed mainly in hermitages. Okay, hermitages where sages were teaching. You write this down. Okay, to sit and learn is the meaning of Upanishad. And the Upanishads were developed in the hermitages of sages. Hermitage means, okay, the place where sages usually reside. Hermitage. Okay, kutir it is called, right, in Hindi. Kutir. In Kannada, what is it called? Same. Okay, kutir. So kutir, there most of the Upanishads, they have originated, and they rejected the materialism of earlier Vedas. Okay, and they dealt with bigger questions of life. Okay, not just fulfilling of human desires. They talked about bigger questions of life, like what will happen to a person after death. Who is God? If God is there, what is his character? Okay, if God is there, what is the relation between individual and God? Okay, and it also talks about what happens to a person after death. Okay, and it also talks about some issues like why do we dream? Okay, what do we see in dreams? Okay, these kind of applied philosophical concepts they discuss about. They discuss about, and they formulated it in the form of a total of 108 Upanishads. And one of the key contribution of Upanishadic ideology is it talks about the principle of karma. Okay, karma is one important idea which emerges out of Upanishads. Okay, don't take it negatively. Okay, karma is action and its consequence. Okay, action and its consequence is karma. Okay, action and its consequence is karma. It talks about karma. Okay, and it is the Upanishads, okay, which give this concept of Brahma, Atma, okay, Moksha, Advaita, okay, Advaita, Moksha, Samsara, okay, Samsara. All of these are interrelated concepts. Samsara means the physical world. Okay, physical world is called Samsara. Okay, and Samsara is also, apart from physical world, it also talks about cycle of life. Cycle of life. Okay, it says that life doesn't end with death. Okay, in fact, life or soul has no death to it. Soul has no death to it, and the cycle of life, it keeps on moving. Okay, Samsara is cycle of life or the physical world. It talks about this. Then it talks about three main ideas: Brahma, Atma, Moksha. Okay, Brahma, Atma, Moksha, and along with that, Advaita. Four concepts it talks about. When it comes to Brahma, Brahma is nothing but the universal soul. Okay, you write the meanings there only. Brahman means the universal soul. Okay, the chief deity of Vedas, you remember? Okay, Brahma, the supreme God. So this, it is not, should not be equated to Brahma of Trinity. Okay, Trinity mein Brahma hota hai na, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. That it is not that Brahma. This is Brahman. Okay, Brahman is the supreme God according to Vedas. Okay, most of you might be practicing Hindus without knowing who Brahman is. Okay, it might be the case, but according to Vedas, the most superior God is Brahman. Okay, Brahman, and Brahman is considered to be the absolute truth and only reality in the world. Brahman is the absolute truth and only reality in the world. Only reality in the world. And the second term it talks about is Atman. Okay, Atman means individual soul. Atman means individual soul. Atman is individual soul. Okay, that every individual has his own soul, right? So this is what is Atman. Atman. And it also talks about this negation of plurality. It says that Brahman and Atman are one and the same. Okay, negation of plurality means Brahman and Atman are one and the same is the core idea of Upanishads. Okay, it talks about the idea called Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvam Asi. Okay, Aham Brahmasmi means I am Brahma. Okay, my Atman is Brahman. That is what Aham Brahmasmi means. Tattvam Asi means I am that essence. Okay, Tattvam means I. Asi means that essence. Okay, I am Brahman. In human form, I am Brahman. So this is the core idea of Upanishads, that is negation of plurality, which is called Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvam Asi. And this is the origin for the concept of Advaita, non-duality. Advaita, non-duality. We will talk about its evolution later in Bhakti. Okay, brilliant philosophies are there which are associated with the exact relation between Brahman and Atman. No Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, okay, our own Udupi. Okay, all of these acharyas, they discuss about the relation between Brahman and Atman. And the centrality of Hinduism, it revolves around this same thing. Okay, what is the exact relation between Brahman and Atman? Upanishads have proclaimed that they are one and the same. Okay, but later day philosophers, they started saying that no, they are different. Okay, duality. Okay, some started saying that no, their relationship is very complicated. Okay, this way there are numerous philosophies which have emerged later. So Brahman, so the essential idea is Aham Brahmasmi and Tattvam Asi. And it also talks about the concept of moksha. Moksha is liberation from samsara. Liberation from cycle of life is known as moksha. Okay, liberation from cycle of life is known as moksha. Okay, it is called in different names, right? Okay, in contemporary Hinduism, it is known as Vaikuntha Samaradhana. Okay, wherein an individual goes beyond hell and heaven. Hell and heaven are lower level things. Moksha is the absolute thing that an individual wants. It means that at death, if you have conducted good karmas, you will go to heaven. But after a few days in heaven, again you will take rebirth. Okay, this is how the cycle of life continues. And in hell, after getting punished, you will again take rebirth. So this is how the cycle of life continues. But moksha is ultimate liberation from this cycle. Okay, you after your death, you are not reborn. Okay, you will become part of the Brahman. That is what is known as moksha. Okay, moksha is the ultimate ideal according to this Upanishads, and it also talks about an idea called Maya. Okay, Maya is given there. Is it given? Okay, Maya. Maya means illusion or God created illusion. God created illusion. God created illusion. See, this samsara is Maya. Okay, the ultimate reality is equating individual soul with Brahman. Okay, that is what the ultimate truth is. And the samsara is Maya. Don't get carried away by samsara. Okay, that is what they say. Okay, because it is all Maya or illusion. Okay, this is what ISKCON also proclaims. Okay, that we are living in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is what? Maya. ISKCON, you know. Okay, you visited the temple. Okay, corporate office is there. Okay, in Bangalore. But their books, they talk about this Maya concept. The core of ISKCON is Maya concept. That is Krishna consciousness, they call this. Okay, they call this as Krishna consciousness. We'll discuss about it again in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he says that, okay, the entire world is the Leela of God. Okay, Leela of God, Leela or Maya or Krishna consciousness, and based on his idea only, ISKCON has come into picture. Are you following? Okay, so this is one more doctrine that it talks about, and it says that, okay, in order to attain moksha, an individual has to follow Jnana Marga. Okay, by Jnana Marga, by attaining more knowledge, you will attain moksha. Okay, is it not similar to Socrates' idea? Okay, gain more knowledge in order to be ethical. Here, what they're saying, gain more knowledge in order to attain moksha. Okay, the only path that they emphasize on is Jnana Marga. This is called Jnana Marga. Okay, regularly you think about Brahma. Okay, you think about the equality between individual soul and the Brahman, then automatically you will attain moksha. Okay, automatically you will attain moksha is this one. And Maya illusion I talked about, and it also gives emphasis to meditation and yogic exercises. And meditation here, it is called as Upasana. Upasana form of meditation. Okay, in Buddhism also talks about this Upasana form of meditation. Okay, Upasana or Vipassana, it is the same thing. Okay, Upasana is meditation, and they also talk about individuals, they ask individuals to have Shraddha or faith. Shraddha means faith. Okay, they can give this key term and ask its meaning. Okay, Shraddha means faith. And Upanishads finally, they come to a conclusion saying that ignorance is cause of all suffering in world. Ignorance is cause of all suffering in world. Okay, ignorance is the cause, it's not given there, you write it down. Ignorance is cause of suffering. Ignorance is the cause of suffering. You suffer because you are ignorant. Out of ignorance, okay, you desire, and out of desire, you will, and out of will, you do karma, and finally, your destiny will be determined by that. Okay, so they give this link. Okay, desire, will, karma, and destiny. And it also gives utmost significance to ethical actions in life, that is righteous life it focuses upon. And it also gives a call for abandonment of desire. Abandonment of desire for liberation. Okay, if you want to attain moksha, then you have to go beyond desire. Okay, so this is what they say. Okay, one more essay. Yes, wantlessness and materialism. Okay, wantlessness is utopian, whereas materialism is chimera or chimera it is called. Yes. So here what they are saying is that, okay, very simply, they are saying that desire is an outcome of ignorance. And this desire, it will create this will for individual. Will means the propensity for action is known as will. And finally, the action which has been conducted is known as karma. and finally it will lead to your destiny. Okay, will lead to your destiny. So this is what they say, and they talk of abandonment of desire. Ignorance is the cause of suffering, and they ask individuals to follow a righteous path in life. So this is the core essence of Upanishads. Okay, core essence of Upanishads, and they went beyond materialism and they started talking about the spiritual things of life. Okay, what is the purpose of life? Who is God? Okay, these things you should write down. Okay, what is the purpose of life? Who is God? Who is God? What happens after death? Okay, these kind of questions were handled by Upanishads. The problem is they answered these questions, but they are not comprehensible for us. Okay, because their terrain is different. Our terrain is different. Okay, they are not logically explained. Okay, what happens after death was one question. Who is God was one more question. One Upanishad is entirely written on it. Okay, it says what? Okay, God is not this, God is not that, God is not this, God is not that. Okay, they will go this way. And finally, they will say what God is not rather than saying what God is. Okay, you're getting what I'm trying to say? So that is the problem with these ideas, and this is what Upanishads proclaims. Next one is, we'll move to, okay, the concept of, yes, someone asked a question? No? Okay, next one is, we'll move to this concept of Brahmanism. Brahmanism will go to, the next concept is Brahmanism. And before going to Brahmanism, okay, we'll talk about a few socio-cultural changes which occurred. Okay, socio-cultural changes which occurred after the early Vedic period. Post early Vedic period, okay, there are some socio-cultural changes, you have to write them down. And these socio-cultural changes were, okay, from pastoral, they became agricultural society. Story, it's not given, you have to write. It's not given, you have to write. Slowly, trade and commerce also emerged. People started taking up sea voyages. They started practice of money lending. And in the society, Vaishyas became more dominant than Brahmins and Kshatriyas. Okay, they became more rich, not dominant, they became more rich. Vaishyas became more rich, and there was a growing materialism in society. After the early Vedic period, new agricultural practice started. Earlier it was pastoralism, now agriculture developed. Trade and economic expansion took place. Sea voyages took place. Money lending. Then along with that, new status of Vaishyas also started emerging. There is also growing materialism in society. These are the new changes which occurred. Because of these changes, the early Vedic religion, whichever is present, it changed to a new religion which is known as Brahmanism. Okay, it changed to a new religion called Brahmanism. And Brahmanism is popular during later Vedic period and Mahajanapadas period. Later Vedic, Mahajanapada period. Okay, and Mauryan age also, this is dominant. You write, aside Brahmanism, you write later Vedic period. Okay, later Vedic period, comma, Mahajanapada phase, comma, Mauryan age. During this period, this is dominant. Now new agriculture developed, new technologies, all of these things developed. So what happened is the nature of religion also, it changed. Okay, during early Vedic period, the natural forces were gods, right? Okay, now these gods have been replaced by the trinity of gods. Trinity means Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Okay, this Brahma is not equivalent to the Brahman. Okay, here it is a lower order god called Brahma, the creator. Okay, Vishnu, the maintainer, preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Okay, these three gods are given more importance. Trinity of gods. Prajapati, that is creator, Brahma, Vishnu is protector, and Rudra is destroyer. These three gods are given importance. And the earlier natural gods who are present, they were, okay, sidelined and they became Ashtadikpalakas. Yes or no? Okay, right now also different directions have different gods. Yes, okay, Agneya usually is associated with, okay, I also don't know, I think it is Agni. Okay, Vastu Shastra, if you know, then you might be knowing. Okay, each direction, Ashtadiks, they are associated with different gods. Okay, Ashtadikpalakas they became. It means that they were sidelined from the mainstream of earlier period. Are you following this? Next, during this period, Okay, there emerged a new system called Ashrama system, which is based out of Jabala Upanishad. Okay, Jabala Upanishad, it proposed this system called Ashrama system. Ashrama system, what it tries to do is it tries to create, okay, an ordered way of life for an individual, an aspiration for individual, how an ideal life should look like. Okay, during young age, that is during childhood and adolescent, an individual should follow a system called Brahmacharya, where he should focus on education. Then after that, you have to move to a stage called Grihastha. In Grihastha stage, you have to maintain a family and you have to take part in the economic activities. Then the next stage is known as Vanaprastha, and in Vanaprastha, you have to move to forest. Okay, you have to move to forest along with your wife. Okay, then the last stage is known as Sannyasa, and in Sannyasa, you relinquish your wife to and you take up the path of wandering monk. That is what is known as Sannyasa. So these are the 4 stages of life, and it is proposed in this Upanishad called Jabala Upanishad, and people started following this practice from here on. Then along with that, earlier the sacrifices used to be very small, right? But here the governments became very powerful, and the big public ceremonies, they became major sacrifices. There were big public sacrifices and ceremonies, and cattle wealth in large number was being killed. Okay, cattle wealth in large number, write it down. Cattle wealth in large number was being killed as part of these sacrifices and ceremonies. Cattle wealth in large number. Okay, numerous cattle were being culled. They were being killed. Okay, they were being killed as part of this culling activity they used to take up. Okay, cattle means here during this period. Okay, whatever any person might say, cow sacrifice was a common thing at this point of time. People used to sacrifice the cows in fire altar to God, and they used to consume beef too. Okay, this is a standard practice at the point of time. Okay, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay, in Vedic period, people used to consume beef. Okay, cow meat they used to consume, but later day, because of the influence of Buddhism, ahimsa has a concept became central to Hinduism. Okay, then thereafter, okay, beef consumption was looked down upon, and they have banned consumption of beef. Okay, so this is all cultural relativism. There are no absolute truths here. Okay, don't try to impose saying that, okay, cow is sacred animal on everyone, because your ancestors themselves were consuming cow at one point of time. Okay, it is culturally relative thing. Okay, don't try to have any absolute moral standards. Okay, this is very true. Okay, even the greats like Swami Vivekananda, they also accepted this thing. Okay, greats like Swami Vivekananda, they accepted this thing. Okay, and I should not tell this, but I'll tell it. Okay, Swami Vivekananda, he himself used to consume beef. Okay, he used to smoke a lot. Okay, so people from Ramakrishna Mutt, they might be a little, okay, disturbed by this fact, but usually, okay, this is not brought to the open by Ramakrishna Mutt. Okay, they try to sideline this aspect of Swami Vivekananda and project him as a sannyasi. Okay, but he used to do all these things because he was a modernist Bengali first. Then after that only he became a sannyasi. Okay, so this is the case. So beef consumption was common at that point of time. Okay, no one is going to ask you this question, but we should know that. Okay, next one is Varna order. It became rigid during this period. Varna order, it became rigid. Along with that, the position of women and Shudras, it declined. Women's position declined and Shudra's position also declined. And there was Brahman and Kshatriya alliance. And new books called Dharma Shastras and Dharma Sutras were composed during this period. It's given there, dekho. Dharma Shastras and Dharma Sutras, they were composed during this period. Okay, and some things, economic expansion and urbanization. Okay, because this is the phase of second urbanization, Mahajanapada period. Yes. Okay, so there was urbanization, economic expansion. And there was also this problem of social alienation. Social alienation because of breakdown of kin groups. Write the word breakdown of kin groups. Breakdown of kin groups or breakdown of jana. Okay, jana or breakdown of kin groups. Because of which there was social alienation too. Okay, usually social alienation is a problem that people will face, right? Okay, sometimes when you migrate from your village to an urban area, you also feel this sense of social alienation. You don't belong to the surroundings. Yes. Okay, whenever you come from your hometown or home village, this feeling of social alienation will be there. Similarly, because of urbanization, there was problem of social alienation because of breakdown of kin groups. In urban areas, maintaining social relations on the basis of kin group is more difficult than in rural areas. Because in rural areas, people who belong to the same kin group, they reside in the same place, they have the same property, same land they have, and they don't move out from one region to another. But if you come to an urban area, naturally the kin group will get broken down. Okay, except for Marwadis, no other community will be able to maintain kin group in urban settings. Okay, others, usually it leads to breakdown of kin groups. We'll discuss it later. Okay, but social alienation is because of breakdown of kin groups. And next one is, we'll talk about Vedanga. Okay, the Shruti literature is done. Now, Smriti literature. And as part of Smriti literature, first we will discuss about Vedanga. Vedanga is considered to be the parts of Veda which are used to understand the Veda. And there are in total, okay, some 6 parts of Veda. 6 parts of Veda which are known as Vyakaran, Siksha, Chandas, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Okay, Vyakaran, Chandas, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa. Okay, Vyakaran means grammar. Okay, Sanskrit grammar is Vyakaran. Siksha means phonetics. Okay, how you have to pronounce a said word is known as Siksha, phonetics it is called. Then the next word is Chandas. Chandas means meter. Okay, usually in poetry there is meter, right? Okay, people from Kannada literature, they must tell. Usually there is a meter, right? It means that how a line has to be composed. What kind of rules have to be followed in composing a poetry. Okay, a poetic line, if it is composed, what kind of rules have to be followed is part of this thing called Chandas. Okay, Chandas. And the next one is Nirukta. Nirukta means etymology. Etymology means the origin of words. Etymology means the origin of words it discusses. Okay, I told you Veda. Veda means it derives out of the word with. Okay, that is what etymology is. How the words have originated. What is the origin of different words? If you discuss that, then it is called as etymology. And the next one is Jyotisha. Okay, Indians were fascinated with Jyotisha from that time itself. Okay, because we want, okay, to know about our future. So Jyotisha, astrology is one more part of Vedanga. And the last one is Kalpa. Okay, last one is Kalpa. And Kalpa talks about ceremony. Okay, Kalpa talks about ceremony, how different rituals and sacrifices have to be conducted. It gives a clear picture. And Kalpa has 2 parts to it. One is known as Shrauta, and the second one is known as Griha. Shrauta Sutra, it talks about mainly, okay, Shrauta Sutra, it talks about big public ceremonies. Griha Sutra, it talks about, okay, household ceremonies. And a sub part of Shrauta Sutra is this part which is known as Sulva Sutra. Sub part of Shrauta Sutra is Sulva Sutra. Okay, and Sulva in English means what? What is the meaning of Sulva? Huh? Geometry. Okay, Sulva means geometry. Because, okay, here they talk about in Sulva Sutras how a sacrificial pit has to be constructed, whether it has to be constructed in a square fashion, rectangular fashion, circular, okay, or triangular. These discussions are conducted, so this is considered to be the place where geometry has originated for the first time. Okay, origin of geometry is Sulva Sutra. Okay, it is part of Shrauta. Okay, it is part of Shrauta. And okay, there is, I'm sorry, Shrauta, Grihya, and third one is Dharma. Okay, there are 3 parts to Kalpa Sutra. The third part is known as Dharma Sutra. Okay, Dharma Sutra talks about ethics. Dharma Sutra talks about ethics. So Vedanga mein total how many? 7 are there, right? Not 6. 1, 2, 3. I think 6. In total 6. So of these 6, Vyakaran, Siksha, Chandas, Nirukta, they deal with the language of Sanskrit. Okay, then after that, Jyotisha deals with astrology. Kalpa, it deals with ceremony. And Kalpa mein, there are 2 parts. One is Shrauta, 3 parts, Shrauta, Grihya and Dharma. Shrauta is public ceremonies and a sub part of Shrauta is Sulva Sutra. Okay, then below that we have Grihya and below that we have, okay, Dharma Sutras. Okay, now we will have a brief discussion on the Sanskrit grammatical tradition. Is it given there? It's given, right? Sanskrit grammatical tradition. So Sanskrit grammar, it originated with Vedanga, Vyakaran, Jyotish, Vyakaran, Siksha, okay, Nirukta, all of these things are part of the early grammar. Later day, okay, there is a brilliant Sanskrit grammarian by the name of Panini. Very, very important. UPSC has asked a question also on him, Panini, and he has composed the first text on Sanskrit grammar, which is called as Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi is the first text on Sanskrit grammar, standalone text on Sanskrit grammar is his book called Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi. And this Panini, he was a student and later teacher at Takshila. Takshila University is there, right? Okay, he was a student and teacher at Takshila, Panini. And he belonged to 6th century BC. Belonged to, write it down, he belonged to 6th century BC. He composed this book called Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi. It is considered to be a scientific document, okay, which gives the basis for Sanskrit as a language. Ashtadhyayi. And later, okay, on this Ashtadhyayi of Panini, okay, there was a person who made a commentary called Katyayana. Okay, Katyayana made a commentary on this, and this commentary is known as Vartika. Okay, this commentary is known as Vartika, and it has been composed by Katyayana. And the third person who talked about Sanskrit grammar is Patanjali. Okay, Patanjali, you know. Okay, Baba Ramdev. Okay, not that Patanjali, the original Patanjali I am talking about. Okay, this Patanjali, he is a contemporary of Pushyamitra Sunga. This has been asked as a question. Pushyamitra Sunga of Sunga dynasty. He is the one who killed the last Maurya and he became the next emperor. He was a contemporary of Pushyamitra Sunga. And he also conducted a Ashwamedha sacrifice for Pushyamitra Sunga. He conducted a Ashwamedha sacrifice for Pushyamitra Sunga. He is a very, very powerful person. Pushyamitra Sunga and Patanjali. And Patanjali, okay, his contribution is on one side, he contributed to the Sanskrit grammar or Vyakaran. On the other, he composed. What did he compose? Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra was composed by whom? It was Patanjali who composed the Yoga Sutra. Okay, so the same person, he composed a Sanskrit grammatical tradition or grammatical text which is known as Mahabhashya. And this Mahabhashya is also a commentary on, okay, the grammar of Panini. Ashtadhyayi pe ye bhi commentary hai. Okay, its name is Mahabhashya. And because of these three people, Sanskrit grammar is known as Trimuni Vyakaran. Okay, Trimuni Vyakaran, because three people have contributed to it. Trimuni Vyakaran. Okay, and later day, I've just given some names of later day Sanskrit grammarians. Okay, one is Jayaditya and Vamana. They wrote a commentary named Kasika. And then Khayata, he wrote a commentary on Patanjali Mahabhashya. And Rupavatara, a Buddhist scholar. Okay, and Dharmakirti. Okay, Rupavatara is a book name and it was written by Dharmakirti, which popularized simplified versions of Sanskrit grammar. Okay, these are some important texts. They are just additional information. Okay, Jayaditya and Vamana. Sika, Khayata's commentary on Patanjali's Mahabhashya. Okay, Rupavatara is the commentary of Dharmakirti. Okay, and Khayata's commentary's name is also Mahabhashya. Okay, that is the reason why I did not specify the name again. Okay, Khayata's book name is also Mahabhashya. Okay, Rupavatara, Jayaditya and Vamana, Kasika, Mahabhashya and Rupavatara. So these are the important Sanskrit grammatic traditions and they can be asked as prelims questions. The next one is, we'll talk about the concept of dharma. Okay, Kalpa mein, okay, one part is Shrauta, second is Grihya and the third is, okay, the third is this Dharma Shastra, Dharma Sutra, and Dharma, the word, it emerges from the word Dhir. Okay, Dhir. Dhir means a string which holds things together. I think I talked about it in ethics. Okay, string which holds things together is known as Dhri. It is an ethical, social and spiritual concept in India. Yes, what individual ethics has to be followed, what is required for the society and how to attain, okay, moksha. All of these things are handled by dharma. It is a comprehensive concept. It is a comprehensive concept and it goes beyond law. Yes or no? Dharma is usually considered as a law, but it goes beyond law because it contains individual morality, social ethics and spiritual ethics. All three things are included in dharma. That is the reason why it is considered as a more comprehensive concept, and they based on the earlier Dharma Sutras. Okay, based on the earlier Dharma Sutras, there were 4 Dharma Sutras which were composed by 4 sages who are known as Gautama, Baudhyayana, Apastamba and Vasishtha. Okay, Gautama, Baudhyayana, Apastamba and Vasishtha, they also composed Dharma Sutras of their own. Okay, very important. Who composed, which of the following composed Dharma Sutras? They can ask a question. Okay, Gautama, Baudhyayana, Vasishtha and Apastamba. Okay, and based on the Dharma Sutras, okay, some more texts were written which are known as Smritis. Okay, which are known as Smriti. And there were 4 Smritikaras in ancient India like Manu, Narada, Brihaspati and Yajnavalkya. Okay, 4 are there who are known as Manu, Narada, Brihaspati, Yajnavalkya. Of these, we already talked about the book called Manusmriti. Yes, okay, we talked about how Manusmriti, it provided for the caste system, punishments for untouchables. That is the reason why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he held meetings of Manusmriti Dahana. Remember? Okay, so this Manu Smriti, okay, Smritikaras mein one important one is Manu, Narada, Brihaspati, Yajnavalkya are known as Smritikaras. See, the nature of text, it changed between Smriti, Sutra and Smriti. Okay, Sutra is the ideal, okay, how Dharma has to be implemented, the ideal is given by the Sutra. Whereas, its practical implementation is talked about by the Smritikaras. Are you following this? This is talked about by the Smritikaras. And apart from that, okay, we have this term called Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is Sutra plus Smriti together. It is known as Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is this both Sutra and Smriti together are known as Dharma Shastras. And the commentaries on these are known as Tikas and Bhashyas. Tikas and Bhashyas are known as commentaries on Dharma Shastras. And the last one is Sangraha and Nibandha. Sangraha and Nibandha are collection of views on Dharma Shastras. Dharma Shastras पे आपका views जो है उसको collect करके रखा तो then it becomes part of this book called Sangraha and Nibandha. Okay, just think of it like this way. Okay, Dharma Shastra is the constitution. Okay, or let's suppose Sutra is the constitution. No, take it this way. Dharma Shastra is the constitution. Tikas and Bhashyas are like IPC and CRPC. Whereas Sangrahas and Nibandhas are just like the judicial pronouncements on the various laws. Judiciary also is a creator of law. Okay, through its pronouncements and judgments, it creates laws too. So these are like judicial observations. Okay, you can write it down for simple understanding. Okay, Shastra is constitution. Tika and Bhashya are IPC and CRPC. Sangraha and Nibandha are like the judicial pronouncements, okay, on the said thing. And the next aspect is called Upaveda. The next aspect is called Upaveda. And Upaveda, okay, it deals with secular subjects, and there are 4 Upavedas. These are Ayur, Dhanur, Shilpa and Gandharva. Okay, Shilpa is sculpture, Gandharva is music, Dhanur is archery, Ayurveda is medicine. Okay, so Upaveda mein 4 parts hai. So these are the things. These are the things. Okay, now there is a specific term. Okay, specific terms are there. This can be asked as independent questions called Gotra, Sapinda and Pravara. Gotra, Sapinda and Pravara are the 3 key terms. When it comes to Gotra, okay, the people who used to tie all their cows at a single pen. Okay, every house did not have a pen at that point of time. Pen is the place where you tie your cows, right? So the people who used to tie all their cows at one place, they are people who belong to the same Gotra. Okay, every caste group in India today has its own Gotra. Okay, every family has its Gotra for that matter. And the Gotra is common between the kin group. Are you following what I'm trying to say? And the Gotra as a term, it emerged from the cow pen. Okay, it emerged from the cow pen. And this Gotra, okay, this Gotra is an exogamous group. You write this term down. It is a exogamous group. What is the meaning of exogamy? What is the meaning of endogamy? Endogamy means marrying in the same cultural group is called endogamy, right? Caste is a endogamous grouping. It means that you have to marry in the same caste. Similarly, Gotra is a exogamous group. It means that you should not marry people from the same Gotra. Are you following this? Okay, sometimes in North India, we have seen cases too, where if people of the same Gotra, if they got married, Kap Panchayat has given them penalty of death. Okay, because they are considered as brother and sister. Are you following this? Okay, this is what Kaupen. Gotra means Kaupen, and Gotra is an exogamous group in India. Then apart from Gotra, there are 2 other concepts. One is Sapinda and the second one is Pravara. Okay, Pravara and Sapinda. Sapinda is, okay, if two people, okay, just see this. Okay, let's suppose there are two people, husband and wife, or okay, male and female, two people are there. Okay, they will go back to their ancestors. Okay, 7 generations of ancestors from father side, and 5 generations of ancestors from mother side. Okay, if there is a commonality between, okay, these 7 generations and 5 generations and this 7 generations and 5 generations, people should not get married. Okay, so that is what is this concept called Sapinda. Okay, Sapinda means the people who belong to the same kin group. Okay, descent, same descent group. Okay, you can use the word descent. People who belong to the same descent group. Is it taught in Anthro? Sapinda concept? Okay. Nice, same descent group. 7 generations from father side and 5 generations on mother side, there should not be any commonality. Okay, only in South India we follow cross cousin marriages. Okay, in North there are no cross cousin marriages. You should not marry your cousins. Okay, even though they are cross cousins, you should not marry them. But in South it is practiced, right? Yes, cross cousins marriage. Okay, you people are not from Indian society. Okay, you have just got transported from some Mars to my classroom directly. Okay, I am teaching you even the basics of social customs so that you will become good citizens in society. Okay, next one is the last concept, that is known as Pravara. Okay, Pravara, and this concept is only applicable to Brahmins, and every Brahmin family, okay, it will have 5 rishis as their Pravara. Usually Brahmin families have this concept of 5 rishis as part of their Pravara they will have. And okay, here also it is also a marriage rule, okay, wherein if 3 rishis are common between 2 groups, then they should not get married. Okay, so just remember that Pravara is a concept of commonality and dissimilarity between the rishis of a family, and it is applied only to Brahmins. It is applied only to Brahmins. Okay, so this is the story of the Vedic literature and Vedic traditions. Yes. No, it's not members. Okay, it's like every family will select 5 rishis. Okay, they will, and their descendants also will follow the same 5 rishis. Okay, some families have this concept of rishis, just like gods, like just like family god. There will be 5 rishis for every family. Okay, and at least 3 should be dissimilar in order to get married. Okay, so that is the case. And the next one is this concept called dharma. I think I discussed, right? This is done. Okay, the next concept is Itihasa Purana tradition. Itihasa and Purana tradition. Okay, Itihasa means thus it was. Its meaning is thus it was. Okay, so it happened. Okay, usually during storytelling, this concept is used, right? Okay, storytelling mein, okay, once upon a time, okay, this was the situation. That's how stories start, right? Okay, Itihasa is similarly a narrative tradition whose meaning is thus it was. And the main Itihasas of India are, okay, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Okay, these are part of Itihasa. And in Itihasa tradition, usually, okay, what they include as part of Itihasa is, they include Gatha, Akhyayan, Katha, Narasamsi and Purana. All 5 together are called as Itihasas. Okay, and UPSC has asked a question on this word called Narasamsi. Okay, Narasamsi, they asked a question, and they also asked a question on Magadha. Okay, so I'll explain them, these terms to you. First term is Gatha. Gatha is songs of praise. Okay, songs of praise are known as Gatha. Okay, usually kings, rishis, they have these songs of praise, right? Usually movie heroes also have this introduction song, okay, which praise the hero. Okay, same thing, Gatha is that. Then the next one is Akhyayan. Akhyayan are dramatic narratives. Okay, dramatic narratives. These are the origin for drama. Origin for drama. Dramatic narratives. Okay, if they are narrated, then it is known as Akhyayan. And the third one is known as Katha. Katha is a story. And fourth one is called Narasamsi. Narasamsi means eulogy of heroes. Eulogy means the story of, eulogy means praiseworthy story of a hero. Okay, obituary and eulogy, usually these are the 2 terms which are used. Eulogy means for a living person, if you write about his grandeur, then it is called as eulogy. For a dead person, if you write, then it is called as obituary. In your paper also there is one column called obituary, right? Yes. Okay, eulogy is the praise of a living person. Praise of a living person. And the last one is Purana. Purana means ancient lore. Okay, you just know the meanings. I'll tell about them. Usually, these 5 elements, they are used by either Brahmanas or priests or Magadhas. Okay, there are 2 communities who indulge themselves in this tradition of, this is an oral tradition. This is not written. Okay, this is not written. This is an oral tradition, and usually 2 communities involved in this tradition of, okay, write the word oral tradition. It's not given there. You write the word oral tradition. All of them are oral traditions. And usually 2 communities are involved in this. One community is Brahmins, and the second community is known as Suta or Magadha. Suta or Magadha. Okay, Brahmins, you understand, right? Priestly classes. Usually they involve in praising the kings because they will give dana and dakshina if they get praised. Yes or no? Okay, that is the reason why Brahmins get involved in this thing. Then apart from that, Sutas or Magadhas. Okay, do you know about the term Sutaputra? Okay, Sutaputra is whom? Karna is Sutaputra. Can I tell it beforehand? By any chance? No, right? Okay, Sutaputra is Karna, and Suta means what? Charioteer. Okay, Suta means charioteer. Suta or Magadha, both the terms mean the same thing. It means charioteer. Okay, the person who is a charioteer for a king is known as Suta or Magadha. And UPSC has asked a question on Magadha. And the very first option was, it is a state during ancient times. Okay, so but the exact meaning of Magadha is, it is a charioteer. He is a charioteer. Magadha. This has been asked as a question. You can see the question too, 15 or 16. Okay, I don't remember exactly. 15 or 16, this question was asked. So, Suta or Magadha. Okay, usually the charioteer, he accompanies the king for war. Yes, he accompanies the king for war. And in war, okay, the king cannot come back and tell about his own greatness. Okay, then no one will believe it. Automatically, it will be considered as a propaganda. So, what they do is, they will give this role to the driver. Okay, the driver comes back and says that, Arey yaar, okay, the king has fought so well, he has killed nearly 1,000 people, when the king in fact might have run away from the battlefield. Okay, so this way, these are the people who tell lores or stories to the public, and in telling these stories, they use poetry to tell these stories, and they become part of this tradition called Itihasa Purana tradition. And Itihasa Puranas, they have Gatha, Akhyayan, Katha, Narasamsi and Purana. All of these are parts of Itihasa Purana tradition. And of these, the Puranas are very important for us, okay, because there are in fact a total of nearly 18 Puranas which are present, okay, 18 Puranas of this Itihasa Purana tradition. There are 18 Puranas and numerous Upapuranas. Is it given 18 Puranas somewhere? Okay, 18 Puranas are there in total and many Upapuranas. Okay, I think you might have heard about the names of some Puranas, right? Shiva Purana, Skanda Purana, okay, Devi Purana. So these kind of things are the Puranas of ancient India. Okay, Puranas of ancient India, and there are total of 18. And usually the Puranas are encyclopedias of ancient India. This is very important idea. You write it down. It's given there. They are encyclopedias of ancient India because they cover all aspects of society in them. Okay, they are unlike Mahabharata and Ramayana. Mahabharata and Ramayana are different. Okay, they are stories, but Puranas are different. Puranas are encyclopedical in nature. They don't deal with one story. Okay, what they do is they capture the social realities of those time and the stories which are circulating in the society, all of them they capture and they write down, then it becomes part of a Purana. Okay, they include subjects like how to construct a temple, what is ethical in different situations. Okay, then apart from that, they also have some small stories about kings, sages, okay, gods. All of these things are included in the Puranas. Usually, okay, during Dasara period, okay, Devi Purana is usually narrated in temples. Okay, all 9 days they recite the Devi Purana. So Devi Purana, even though the priests who tell it now, they only focus upon the godly aspect. But Devi Purana, it contains many things about the architecture too. But no one talks about them. Okay, but they are encyclopedical documents of ancient India. Encyclopedical documents of ancient India, and they are a treasure trove of information for historians. But the problem is that, okay, here we cannot differentiate what is real and what is imaginary. Okay, that is a problem. Okay, but even then they are used, and the Puranas have 5 elements to them which are known as Panchalakshanas. Okay, Puranas usually have 5 elements to them which are Panchalakshanas, like Sarga, Pratisarga, Manavantar, okay, Vamsha and Vamshana Charita. Sarga, Pratisarga, Manavantar, Vamsha and Vamshanucharita. All of them are the 5 elements of Puranas. They deal with Sarga, that is creation. Pratisarga is destruction. Okay, Manavantar is the period when human beings are present. Cosmic human cycle is known as Manavantar. Okay. See, usually Sarga or creation is the duty of Prajapati, Brahman. Okay, then Pratisarga is the duty of Rudra, Shiva. Then Manavantar is the cosmic human cycle which is maintained by Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu maintains this Manavantar. They are cosmic human cycles and they are measure of time in India. Measure of time in India. And here you write one word. Time is cyclical in India. Time is not linear. In fact, it is cyclical in India. Time is not measured linearly, but it is measured cyclically. Okay, Western conception is time is linear, right? Yes, after Indus Valley civilization, Vedic period has come. After Vedic period, we have Mahajanapadas. All of this is linear format of time. But ancient Indians, they believed cyclical nature of time. Okay, in this cyclical nature of time, okay, there are 3 terms which are important: Kalpa, Manavantar, Mahayuga, and Yuga. Okay, Kalpa, Manavantar, Mahayuga, and Yuga. Kalpa is, okay, the largest one. One Kalpa is equivalent to 4.32 billion years. 4.32 billion years. And every Kalpa, it contains 14 Manavantars, 14 times where human beings originate, okay, and human beings are present. 14 Manavantars will be there. And for each Manavantar, it contains 71 Mahayugas. Is it given there? No. Okay, just write it down, because they can give a statement saying that according to the ancient conception of time, arrange the following in ascending or descending order. They can give a question. Okay, largest time unit is Kalpa. Below that we have Manavantar, there are 14 Manavantars. Below that we have Mahayuga. For each Manavantar there are 71 Mahayugas, and each Mahayuga, it contains 4 yugas. It contains 4 yugas. Okay, and these yugas are, last ethics also I talked about it, right? Okay, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. Okay, these are the 4 yugas. And here the time is cyclical. Okay, the time is cyclical. It means that history repeats itself. Okay, same story. Again, man will get originated. Okay, again he will go through the same problems, and there will be an avatara who will end a yuga. Yes, avatars usually end a yuga, and after the end of yuga, again one more yuga will start. Here the nature of time is cyclical. Okay, are you following this? Okay, so this is the story of time in India. Very, very important. Time is cyclical. Okay, time is cyclical. Next one is Vamsha. Okay, next one is Vamsha, and the next one is, after that, is Vamshanucharita. Vamsha and Vamshanucharita is the next one. Vamsha means it talks about the lineage of sages and gods. Vamshanucharita, it talks about the lineage of kings. King lineage is called Vamshanucharita. Lineage of gods. Lineage of gods means who is the father of whom, okay, who is the descendant of whom. Okay, this way, if you draw a line of family tree, if you draw, then it is called Vamsha. If you draw it for sages and gods, it is called Vamsha. If you draw it for kings, it is called as Vamshanucharita. Okay, Vamshanucharita and Vamsha. Okay, so these are the things, and now we'll talk about a concept called Puranic Hinduism. Puranic Hinduism, which is also known as Neo-Brahmanism. Neo-Brahmanism or Puranic Hinduism, and this period, it saw crystallization of Hinduism. Hinduism as we practice it today. As we practice it today, it is an outcome of this period. It is an outcome of this period. And here, okay, this period is prominent during post-Mauryan, Guptan, and post-Guptan period. Post-Mauryan, Guptan, and post-Guptan period. 3 time periods. It is a prominent religion in India. Puranic Hinduism. Okay. So during this period, okay, the earlier Brahmanism, it fell into a crisis. Okay, Brahmanism fell into a crisis. You write the word down. Brahmanism fell into a crisis. Okay, attacked by Buddhism and Jainism ke bagal mein likho. Okay, right there. Attacked by, sorry, Buddhism. What did I say? Brahmanism fell into a crisis during this period. Crisis of Brahmanism. Okay. So what was happening? Because of the excessive sacrifices and rituals. Okay. It was impractical religion because so many sacrifices and rituals are there, and it is also oriented towards materialism. It was unable to, fulfill the needs of human being. Along with that, earlier Brahmanism, it gave the top position in society to Brahmins, whereas economically Vaishyas became more rich. Because of all these factors, slowly Buddhism and Jainism, they became more popular than Brahmanism. And most of the rulers in ancient India, they followed either Buddhism or Jainism, but not Brahmanism. The example is Chandragupta Maurya, he is a Jaina. Ashoka, he is a Buddhist. Then Mahapadmananda, one of the great rulers of India, he is also a Jain by faith. Most of the rulers were either Jains or Buddhists, so naturally, Brahmanism, it fell into a crisis. It wanted to reinvent itself. See, the problem is not problem. In fact, Brahmanism is a brilliant ideology because it is always open to change. It is always open to change, and it has changed itself so much that you cannot identify the stream of earlier religion as part of Quranic Hinduism. Are you following what I'm trying to say? See, first, initially, there was early Vedic religion where Indra and other natural gods were given more significance. But after that, slowly they moved to Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. Yes, Prajapati, Vishnu, Shiva. They have changed their gods. Then after that, during this period also, again there are significant changes within Brahmanism, which is known as Neo-Brahmanism or Puranic Hinduism. Are you following this? And during this period, rather than Vedas, Puranas are given more significance. That is the reason why it is known as Puranic Hinduism. It is known as Puranic Hinduism because the Puranas were given more importance. Puranas were given more importance, and during this period, attack by Buddhism and Jainism, I have explained this. Buddhism and Jainism, they attacked Brahmanism. I'll talk about it later too. They attacked Brahmanism, and they lost state patronage as most of the kings. You write this statement down. As most kings were either Buddhist or Jain. Either Buddhist or Jain. And the northwest immigrants also came into India during this period, post-modern period. I told you Greeks, Shakas, Parthians, they also came into India. Migrants. So, because of all these factors, what they did is they changed the religion of Hinduism, into a new form of Hinduism called Puranic Hinduism. Puranic Hinduism. As part of this, first statement you see, absorption of prevailing literal traditions. As part of this absorption of prevailing literal traditions, in India at that point of time, there were numerous cults of, you write this down, Yaksha, Yakshini, Naga and Nagini. Yaksha, Yakshini, Naga and Nagini cults were there, numerous cults were there. All of them were absorbed into Hinduism. All of them were absorbed into Hinduism. And even the cult of Mother Goddess was also absorbed into Hinduism. Cult of Mother Goddess. In fact, it was present even before the Vedic religion. That also has been absorbed into cult of Mother Goddess, Yaksha, Yakshini, Naga, Nagini, all of these cults, which are in fact tribal traditions in India. Apart from the dominant Vedic religion, there were numerous tribal traditions. And these tribal traditions were also absorbed into Hinduism. We talk about Yakshas, Yakshinis, Nagas, Naginis, right? In fact, Krishna dancing on Kaliya, is in fact the domination of the Vedic religion over the local tribal cult. All of these things are linked. In fact, in art it is shown, right? Kaliya paid Krishna, Krishna dancing on the serpent. You know about this? Krishna dancing on serpent. So that is also a declaration of Krishna's dominance over Naga cult. Are you following this? So this way they tried to dominate the various cults of Yakshas, Yakshinis, Nagas and Naginis. Can you name any one Yaksha? Naga, I named one, Kaliya. Can you name any Yaksha? Any Yaksha, any one Yaksha. You know about this god called Kubera? The god of money? He is in fact a Yaksha. You write the example down. Kubera is an Yaksha. You know about the tradition called Yakshagana? Okay, Yakshagana was in fact considered to be a drama performed by Yakshas. Okay, it became part of the Kannada theatre. Okay, Kannada theatre is Yakshagana, right? So Yaksha is the local gods, okay, who are present for different tribals. All of them, they were integrated into Hinduism. Okay, in fact, I'll just narrate one short story in order to explain how these cults have been absorbed into Hinduism. Okay, you know about this story of Shiva and Parvati. Okay, Parvati, in fact, she eloped with Shiva. Okay, even though her father called Daksha. Okay, Daksha Mahamuni, he doesn't want Parvati to get married to Shiva because he says that he is a ascetic and a beggar. Why do you want to marry him? But even then, Parvati, what she does is she elopes with Shiva. But after that, Daksha, he is conducting one yagna called Daksha Mahayagna. So to this yagna, Parvati, she goes without invitation. Without invitation, she goes. There, Daksha, he scolds her. Okay, he scolds her, okay, and he asks her to go out of the yagna. Okay, but Parvati, she felt a deep sense of remorse. So what she does is, she jumps into fire and she dies. Okay, she dies, and then Shiva gets to know about this. He goes, he puts a curse on Daksha first. Then after that, okay, he picks up the dead body of Parvati and he starts dancing. Okay, when he is dancing, because already the dead body is burnt, some parts of the body, they fell in different places in India. Okay, there are 64 places where this fell, and this became part of the Yogini cult. Are you following this? It means that there were some pre-existing traditions already there, but all of them were absorbed into Shaivism by one story. So Shaktism by one story. Okay, let's suppose I'll tell one example. Okay, more simpler example. Let's suppose there is a temple called Kamakhya temple in Assam. In fact, it is a local tribal goddess, tribal mother goddess she is. But Hinduism, it entered Assam. So what they did is they identified this Kamakhya tradition to be a good tradition. So what they did is they included Kamakhya temple as also part of this. Okay, one body part of Parvati, it fell at this place. Then they came to Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, there is Meenakshi temple. You know, right? So here the eyes have fallen. So this became part of one more mother goddess. All of them were integrated into Hinduism indirectly. Are you following what I'm trying to say? So this is how they absorbed the local traditions and created a new, okay, broader concept in order to make Hinduism more popular. Okay, take the case of Jagannatha cult in Odisha. Okay, very, very popular, right? Jagannatha is originally a tribal god. That is the reason why the image of Jagannatha, it is made in wood. Usually in Hinduism, all the deities images, they are made in stone or metal. But wood-based image is a clear indication that it is a local tribal cult which was very popular. And one Brahmin, he came and said that this Jagannatha is none other than Lord Vishnu. Then it became part of the Hinduism. So that is the reason why Hinduism is considered as a federation of faiths. Okay, it is considered as a federation of faiths because numerous sub-faiths they became part of Hinduism as a tradition. Okay, so these ideas, they are important. Okay, this is how, okay, time went on and Hinduism was created as a new religion which is acceptable to more number of people. Okay, earlier they were saying that sacrifices and rituals are too tough for individuals to follow. So what Hinduism did is, Hinduism dropped rituals and sacrifices and it gave more significance to temple construction from now on. Because the temple construction was in vogue in Northwest India. Foreign ruling groups came, Greeks, Shakas, Kushanas. So in Northwest India, temple construction was common. So what these people did is, in order to attract the foreign ruling groups, they also started constructing temples for various gods. Are you following this? Okay, so this is one more thing. Where is it given? Iconography of God, shift from Homa to Puja and Pratishtha. Okay, Puja and Pratishtha, they were given more importance, and iconography of God is given more importance. Okay, they started creating gods in icon format. Okay, earlier there was no icon format for gods. Now they started iconography. Iconography means showing gods in image format. It's called iconography, and they started constructing temples too. Okay, and they made some centers as important centers for pilgrimage, like tirthas. Okay, tirthas are pilgrim centers, and some of the tirthas are chardham. Okay, chardham is Badrinath, Rameshwar, Dwarka, and Puri. And they also created a concept called Saptapuri. Shaktipita. Shaktipita is the one that I talked about. Okay, 64 parts fell in 64 different regions, and all of them became part of the Parvati cult. Once you become part of Parvati cult, you'll become part of Hinduism. Okay, and what they did is, in the Avatarvada, they also included Buddha as one more avatar. Did I include that statement here? I think I did not write it down. Okay, you write it down. Okay, they made Buddha into one avatar of Vishnu. Buddha and Rishabhanatha. You write one more name, Buddha and Rishabhanatha were made into avatars of Vishnu. See, Avataravada is also very brilliant. Okay, in North India, there were more number of people who were following a local god called Rama. Okay, then in West India, there were more people who were following a god called Krishna. So what they said is Rama and Krishna are one and the same. Yes, okay, they all belong to the avatar of Vishnu. Okay, then Matsya Avatara is popular in some places. Then Varaha Avatara is popular in Central India. So they appropriated it and said that this is also part of Vaishnavism. So similarly, they also said that even Buddha, who emerged criticizing Hinduism, they made him also a avatar of Vishnu. Okay, Rishabhanatha is one more. Okay, Rishabhanatha is a Jaina. Okay, first Tirthankara is Rishabhanatha. Rishabhanatha is also made into an avatar of Vishnu. Okay, avatars are not 10. Okay, there in some books it is 12, 13. Some books it is 10. Okay, the number is varying. But there are numerous avatars, and all of them are included as part of the Hindu deities. Okay, Hindu pantheon. Okay, I think, okay, just it is my hope that if, okay, there was no outside influence and if there was no politics involved, naturally at later day, okay, at some point of time, even, okay, the religious leaders of other religions like Christianity, Islam, okay, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, all of them would also have been converted as avatars of Vishnu. Okay, so that is how Hinduism used to work. Are you understanding, okay, how it has worked? So that is how they created this Avataravada, and they have appropriated all the deities and they created a new comprehensive religion which is known as Puranic Hinduism. This can be asked as an independent question in mains. You put a mains M bolke likho wahan pe Puranic Hinduism, and here in Puranic Hinduism, okay, Vrata, Puja and Mantra are important. Vrata means fasting, okay, or in right, Vrata means a procedure or fasting, okay, something or the other, same thing, procedure or fasting. Mantra is usually based on Bijakshara. Bijakshara means, okay, the sacred terms, based on that mantras are formulated. Bijakshara mantras. Okay. And there was also great significance for the cult of Surya too. Surya also was made an important god. Okay, Konark Sun Temple. Okay, most of the temples were constructed of sun. Okay, UPSC has asked a question on sun temples of India. Okay. So this also, sun temples are most popular in Eastern India mainly. Okay, mainly Eastern India, sun temples are more popular. Okay, I'll give a list of sun temples too later in architecture. Okay, sun temples also they constructed, and okay, slowly a new concept called Bhakti emerged. Okay, Bhakti means, Bhakti is the two-way relation between God and individual. Okay, two-way emotional relation. You write this now. It is a two-way emotional relationship between God and his follower. Okay, भगवान और भक्त के बीच में जो emotional relation होता है उसको भक्ति बोलते हैं. Okay, bhakti, it is a two-way relation. Okay, bhaj, where there is sharing of love between the follower and God. Okay, till now we never talked about bhakti. Okay, either it is Jnana Marga or conduct sacrifice. But now slowly people started having this love towards God. Okay, love-based relationship was also promoted during this period. So this is what is known as bhakti. Okay, bhakti in its foundational form is seen here, and the religion at this point of time, it is known as monolatry. It is not given there, you write it down. Monolatry. Monolatry, which means acceptance of other deities but giving utmost importance to one God. If you give utmost importance to one God, and you accept other deities also to be present, then it is known as monolatry. Okay, it means that, let's suppose you are a Shaivite, then you give utmost importance to Shiva. But while giving utmost importance to Shiva, you don't reject that Vishnu is also a god. Okay, which is known as monolatry. Okay, monolatry, giving utmost significance to one god, but non-rejection of other gods is known as monolatry. Okay, that is what Hinduism is today. Okay, there are specific groups like, let's suppose Veerashaivas are there, they give more significance to Shiva, okay, but they don't reject Vishnu as a god. Okay, they pray to them too, but they give utmost significance to Shiva. So that is how monolatry used to work. This term can be asked as a prelims question. Now, in Puranic Hinduism, there were three cults. One is known as Vaishnavism, second is known as Shaivism, and the third is known as Shaktism. Okay, I have given them. Okay, just have a look at them. Here the key terms can be asked as question. In fact, Vishnu initially was a Vedic god. Okay, in Rig Veda itself, there were some references to Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu was a Vedic god. And from this Vedic god, at that point of time, between 3rd century, okay, 3rd century BC, around 3rd century BC, there emerged a cult called Nara Narayana cult. You write it down. Aside Narayana, you write, there was a cult called Nara Narayana cult, which is based on this Pancharatra Satra. Pancharatra Satra. Satra. Pancharatra Satra pe, there was a cult called Nara Narayana cult. This Nara Narayana cult, it revolved around, okay, some rituals and sacrifices. These rituals and sacrifices, they were conducted over a period of 5 days. By conducting these rituals for 5 days, a human being that is Nara, he will become Narayana. Okay, that is what the meaning of this cult is. Nara Narayana cult. It is from 3rd century BC. Okay, Pancharatra Satra, by performing this 5-day sacrifice, you write this term down. By performing a 5-day sacrifice, Nara will become Narayana. Okay, Nara Narayana cult, it was popular and it also became part of Vaishnavism. And there are books called Pancharatra Agamas, which talk about this Nara Narayana cult. Pancharatra Agamas, they are called. And okay, later day Madhvacharya, then Ramanujacharya, all of them, they depended upon this Pancharatra Agamas, okay, because they contained some good quotes on bhakti and stuff. So Madhvacharya, and just write Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya depended on this Pancharatra Agamas. Pancharatra Agamas. And the next one is known as Vaikanasa sect. Vaikanasa sect. Vaikanasa sect, okay, they can give this question, okay, with respect to ancient India, Vaikanasas belong to which of the following sects? Okay, earlier they asked many questions of this format. Vaikanasas are Vaishnavites. They believe in both Vedas and Vishnu. Vishnu Bhakti plus Veda sacrifices are known as Vaikanasas. Vaikanasas, and along with that, we also had some cult called Bhagavata cult. Bhagavata cult. Okay, here according to Bhagavata cult, the god is the one who shares Bhaga with his devotee, and there are repetitive rebirths of God to save Dharma. That is what Bhagavata is, right? And the avatars of Vishnu is Bhagavata. So Bhagavata tradition is one more tradition. And along with Bhagavata tradition, in Vaishnavism, we also had this cult of Krishna Vasudeva. Okay, Krishna Vasudeva. Krishna Vasudeva is considered as a saint by some people. Some people consider him as a king. Okay, Krishna Vasudeva. So Krishna Vasudeva is a saint according to some others. He is a king of Yadavas. Okay, who is associated, got later associated with Mahabharata, and who also later got associated with the theme of Bhagavad Gita. So all of these are stories, okay, narratives which have been built over a period of time. Okay, and whichever god, new god emerges, okay, he is also ours. Okay, you criticize them, then automatically they'll say after your death that, okay, Hinduism was in decline, there was a need for reform. So God himself has taken birth as the criticizer. Are you following this? Okay, you remember this movie called Oh My God? Okay, Oh My God. He is a complete rationalist who criticizes the Hindu practices, and once he dies, okay, he will be made into a god. Okay, usko darshan lagate, okay, ek statue, murti lagake. Okay, they do this thing, right? That is what Hinduism has been doing over a period of centuries. Okay, over a period of centuries, the same thing has been done in Hinduism. That's how, okay, Hinduism is a federation of faiths, and it is, okay, not one faith which is present. Okay, that is the reason why Hinduism is a religion without one single book. There is no single authority in Hinduism like Pope. No single book, no single authority, no standardized practice or ritual too. Okay, so that is the reason why sometimes Hinduism is called as a way of life rather than a religion. It doesn't fit into the modern conception of religion. Okay, because people who are following two exactly opposite practices, both of them are considered as Hindus. Okay, and that is the reason why it is considered as a way of life rather than being a religion. You write this statement down. Okay, Hinduism is a way of life rather than a religion. Next one is Shaivism. Shaivism. Shaiva is initially a non-Vedic god called Rudra or Pashupata. Pashupata or Rudra. He is a non-Vedic god initially. And around him there are cults of fertility, that is Linga, Then ascetic cult, because Shiva is considered to be first and foremost a sannyasi. Okay, ascetic cults, most of the sannyasis also believe in this cult of Shiva. Okay, and along with that, initially he was associated with the death and destruction. Death and destruction he was associated with. Okay, later slowly, okay, new concept called Pashupati emerged. Okay, Pashupati emerged. Pashu, Pasha, and Pati. Okay, so individual souls are like Pashu. Okay, whereas Pati is Shiva. Okay, this kind of idea was promoted. Then there were some groups called Kapalikas. Okay, and Kalamukas also. One more group is there. You write this down. Kalamuka, Kapalika, Kalamuka, all of them. So they follow the same cult. You might be seeing some cults like Agoras. Agoras also, in fact, Shaivites. Okay, Shaivites, they are also Shaivites. Agora, Kapalika, Kalamuka. All of these are subsects. And okay, it is also associated with Shakti cult because the chief deity of Shakti cult is Parvati. And Parvati is consort of Shiva. So it is also associated with Shakti cult. And it is also associated with the cult of Adi Yoga of Patanjali. Patanjali's Adi Yoga is also associated with Shiva. And the cults of Vinayaka, Skanda. Skanda is also known as Kumara. Okay, Subramanya. All these names are given to the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. Vinayaka. All these cults were associated with Shaivism. All these cults were associated with Shaivism. Okay, only the technical terms you try to remember. Other things are not very important. The next one is Shaktism. Shaktism. Shaktism, it is around the cult of Mother Goddess. Around the cult of Mother Goddess. And here, Shaktism gives utmost importance to power and energy. Power and energy. And it is based on absorption of the local cults of Mother Goddess. Okay, I have given the example of Kamakya, Assam. Okay, Meenakshi, Tamil Nadu. Okay, you can give many other names. Okay, and there was also a cult of this lady called Mahisasura Mardini. Okay, on which the cult of Durga has started. Okay, Durga Mahisasura Mardini, she is called. Okay, she is in fact a woman who fought with the tribals of central India. Okay, there was once a big debate in a parliament. Okay, that tribals should not celebrate Dasara festival. Because in fact, it showcases Hinduism's victory over the local tribal cults. Okay, Mahisasura, in fact, is a buffalo-headed. Means that, okay, the tribes who used to tend to buffaloes. Okay, so there was an evil called Mahisasura Mardini and he was killed and the tribals were appropriated into Hinduism. Okay, in parliament, some communists, okay, CPI, okay, particularly Prakash Karath, you know him. Okay, he's a spokesperson of CPI. So he made this statement that, okay, tribals should consider the Durgastami or the day of Dasara as a day of mourning, but not celebration. Because tribals lost to, okay, Durga Bolke, he made a statement and there was a big uproar in parliament, okay, because more number of people are on side of BJP. Okay, so this was one scene which happened once. Okay, along with that, there is a book called, associated with the cult of Shiva too. I talked about it. Mahisasura Mardini, Durga, Kali, Chandi, Saraswati, all of these things are associated with the same deity. And there are books called Devi Mahatyam and Markandeya Purana. They deal with Shaktism. They deal with Shaktism. And apart from that, okay, these two are very important and can be asked as prelims question. There is a tradition called Saptamatrika tradition. And on most of the temples, there are images of these Saptamatrikas. Okay, 7 mothers. Saptamatrika cult. Okay, 7 mothers. You might have seen, okay, in Karnataka also, particularly in the temples of Aihole, Badami, Patakal. Okay, in those places also, on temple walls, you see this imagery of this Saptamatrika cult. Saptamatrika, the 7 emanations of the Mother Goddess, Saptamatrika. Then along with that, you see this cult, one more cult which developed around it is known as Yogini cult. Okay, Yogini cult. In fact, there are 64 yoginis who are called as Chausat Yogini. Chausat means 64. Okay, 64 Yogini cult is also there. Okay, in fact, this Chausat Yogini temple, there are 2 places where these Chausat Yogini temples are present. One is Khajuraho and the second one is Ek Tarso Mahadev Mandir, which is present in Morena. Put a bracket, I think, forgot to write about it. Morena. Okay, Morena, Chausat Yogini temple. Okay, in fact, this has been an inspiration to Indian Parliament. They asked a question on this in prelims. Okay, Chausat Yogini Temple at Morena and Khajuraho, 2 places pay. There are 64 Yogini temples. I showed the image also last year. Okay, and it has come as a question in preliminary. Okay, he's from last batch, so he might be remembering it. Okay, the exact replica. Okay, this Ek Tarso Mahadev Mandir in Morena. Okay, Morena Shiva Mandir. From there, you take the inspiration of Indian Parliament building, the circular nature of Indian Parliament building. Okay, so this is the scene, okay, of Shaktism. Now, okay, we are going to discuss the last school of Hinduism during post-Guptan or during the period of feudalism. Remove post-Guptan. During the period of feudalism, Tantricism became a popular religion. During the period of feudalism. Okay, Tantric cult is given? Not given. Okay, I think it is given at the end. Last page. Okay, last page you check. Last page mein hai Tantricism. This is the final form of Hinduism that we are going to talk about. Tantricism. Okay, ancient period mein, okay, last phase, and after that in the medieval period we'll talk about Bhakti. Okay, later. But Tantricism will finish Hinduism. When it comes to Tantricism, Tantricism was a very popular religion during the feudal period. Okay, because of decentralization during this period, okay, Tantricism became a more popular cult, and Tantricism has its origin in, okay, one is the tribal cults which were present. Okay, tribal cults which were present in various regions. Once these tribal cults were absorbed into Hinduism. Okay, see, in India there has been a continuous process of absorption of tribals into mainstream society. Okay, which is known as the process of acculturation. Acculturation is absorption of tribal groups into mainstream religion is called acculturation. In sociology, I think you might be reading about acculturation, right? The absorption of the tribal cultures into mainstream society is called as acculturation. And in India, this process of acculturation is a continuous process. Even now it is continuing. Yes or no? Chal raha hai ki nahi? Okay, continuously the tribals are getting mainstreamed into society. So this process of acculturation is continuous absorption of tribals into mainstream society is called acculturation. The mainstream society is called acculturation. It's called acculturation. Acculturation is absorption into mainstream society, and there was continuous process of acculturation. And during acculturation, okay, sometimes what happens is Hinduism will impose its gods on the local tribes. Some other times what happens is the local tribal traditions were so strong that Hinduism gets influenced by the local tribal traditions. And in many places, these local tribal traditions, they are, okay, around the issues of magic and ritual. Magic and ritual is important for tribal society. Okay, so that is the reason why some of these cults, they were surrounding around the issue of magic and ritual. And these tantric cults, they became part of mainstream Hinduism. They became part of mainstream Hinduism. And here in tantric cults, the major aim of a person who follows tantra is, on one side, they want spiritual progress. On the other side, they want material progress. Okay, material and spiritual progress, it means that money in this world and spirituality in afterlife. Both of these aims, with these aims, people usually conduct these tantric rituals. Okay, tantric rituals usually they conduct. And Tantra, it became a major say of, okay, not only Hinduism, but Buddhism and Jainism too. They were influenced by Tantricism. They were influenced by Tantricism. And this Tantricism, it believes that God is the unity between male and female energies. God is the unity between male and female energies. And most of these Tantric cults, they are esoteric in nature. Esoteric means close group of people. They follow this cult, then it is known as esoteric. Esoteric means closed group. Okay, if a closed group of people follow this tradition, then it is known as esoteric tradition. Closed group. Okay, and each group has a guru of its own. Okay, each group has a guru of its own. In fact, okay, right now also we have many tantric cults, right? Okay, in fact, our who is the popular spiritual guru, Sadguru. Okay, he is also a tantric. He is also a tantric. Okay, because he also performs all the rituals of tantra. Okay, that Adi Yogi, image, bust, all of these things are part of a tantra tradition only. Okay, so he is also a tantric, and this is how tantric cults used to work, and they are meant for material and spiritual progress Okay, I think I have given it. You just highlight it, and they give utmost emphasis to this concept called Kundalini energy. Okay, Kundalini energy is the energy which every individual has, but it is like a serpent. Okay, it is like a serpent, and it stays at the bottom of individual spine. Okay, and the main aim of this tantric cult is it wants to raise this serpent above and make it touch your sahasrara. Okay, sahasrara means your head. Okay, that is the main aim. So you just remember that they focus upon Kundalini energy, and they conduct rituals and sacrifices. Okay, this is not temple-based worship. It is based on rituals and sacrifices, and in these rituals and sacrifices, they use some things. Okay, these are the 5 M's of Tantricism, which are Matsya, Mamsa, Mudra, Maithuna, and Mantra. Okay, Matsya means fish, Mamsa means meat, Mudra means the symbols, postures. Mudra means postures. Okay, Maithuna means sex, and Mantra means bijas. Okay, bijakshara, mantra. So these 5 M's are important. And even the practice of Hatha Yoga, okay, it's not given there, you write it down. Hatha Yoga is also part of this. Hatha Yoga. Okay, you know the term Hatha Yoga? Hatha Yoga is a part of this tradition. Okay, it takes inspiration from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and it goes beyond that. Okay, Hatha Yoga is also part of this. Okay, and they give more emphasis to female divinities like Shakti and Tara. Tara is the female divinity in Buddhism. Shakti is in Hinduism. The word Tantra, its meaning is it is a loom which is weaving male and female energies together. Loom means the one which creates a textile, right? So similarly, male and female energies together, they become part of this. Okay, Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism have their Tantra of their own, and tribal traditions have become part of this, and it is based on Sadhak and Guru. Okay, Sadhaka and Guru. Sadhaka means disciple, and Guru tradition. I already talked about it. And this Tantricism as a cult, it challenged the patriarchy because there is more emphasis to female goddesses. Okay, more emphasis to female goddesses. It challenged patriarchy at a theoretical level, at least. We write this down. Challenged patriarchy at a theoretical level. Okay, and in Buddhism, we see aspects like Vajrayana, Mantrayana, Tantrayana, okay, Kalachakrayana, and Sahajayana. All of them are Tantric Buddhism. Okay, Tantric Buddhism are Vajrayana, Mantrayana, Tantrayana, okay, Kalachakrayana, and Sahajayana. Okay, they can ask questions on this. That is the reason why. Okay. So in the Sahajayana is common between Tantric Buddhism and Tantric Hinduism. Very, very popular cult in Bengal. We'll talk about it later. Okay. In Hinduism, it reflects as Pancharatra, because Pancharatra is also based on rituals and sacrifices. Yes, Pancharatra Satra. So Pancharatra, Sahajya, Kapalika, Kalmuka, and Nath Panthi. Okay, Nath Panthi and Sahajyas are important for us. Sahajya and Nath Panthi. Okay, Nath Panthis are wandering monks. Okay, they move from one place to another and they preach their spirituality. And they are the ones who follow this Hatha Yogic practices. Nath Panthis are the ones who developed this Hatha Yogic practice. They are esoteric group, okay, secret groups of people move from one place to another. Okay, they follow all these doctrines. Okay. In Tantric Buddhism also, I'll discuss Vajrayana clearly. Okay, rest of the things are not very important. Okay. Pancharatra, Sahajya, Kapalika, Kalmuka, Nath Panthi. All of them are part of this Tantric cult. Okay, very, very popular cults they were. Okay, Hinduism is a religion with the best of philosophies and the worst of practices. Okay, best of philosophy, Upanishad is there. Okay, it is telling such great things about life and stuff. But here we also have Tantricism, okay, which is a very crude form of religion. Very crude form of religion. Even okay, some people who follow Tantricism, they also resort to human sacrifices too. I think you know about it, right? Okay, black magic. All of these things emerge from Tantric cults only. Okay, so there are some practices which provoke ill in others. They tend to do ill in others too. Okay, what is it called in Karnataka? I don't know. Okay, it's called chetabadi. No idea. Okay, what they do is they can do some deliberate ill to others. Okay, deliberate ill to others also they have some practices. Tantricism is a very dicey subject, but they can ask a prelims question on this, so that is more important for us. Okay, so next we'll move to the concept of Buddhism. Next we'll move to the concept of Buddhism. Again, we are going back to, did you understand Hinduism? First early Vedic period, then Brahmanism, then Neo-Brahmanism or Puranic Hinduism, and after that Tantricism. Okay, 4 levels I have discussed it in. And this 4-level thing can also be asked as an integrated question. Okay, it can be asked as an integrated question where you need not explain so elaborately on each part. Okay, a little bit of each part, okay, can be used in order to write about the evolution of Hinduism as a religion. Evolution of Hinduism as a religion, that is important question. Okay, the next one is Buddhism as a religion. In fact, Buddhism is also known as Shramanic tradition. Okay, Shramanic tradition. It is also known as heterodox sect, or it is also known as atheistic tendency in ancient India. Atheistic tendency in ancient India. So why it is an atheistic tendency? Who is Buddha? What is his philosophy? Okay, and other things we are going to talk about. Okay, what are the subsects of Buddhism? All these things we will discuss. Gautam Buddha or Siddhartha, okay, one of the most prominent and popular personalities of ancient India. In fact, okay, Rabindranath Tagore, you know, Gurudev, Rabindranath Tagore, okay, he used to say always this statement that it is not Alexander who is the conqueror of the world, but it is Buddha who is the real conqueror of the world. Okay, because even though Alexander, the empire that he has built is temporary, it failed. Okay, but what Buddha preached, it became part of permanently it became part of humanity. Okay, that is the reason why Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, he always says that Buddha is the real world conqueror. Okay, he is the real world conqueror. And what did he conquer? Okay, what are the problems that he has faced and how he provided solutions to the problems that he faced? All of these parts we are going to discuss. And Gautama Buddha, he belongs to the age of Mahajanapadas, 600 BC. Yes. Okay, he belongs to the age of Mahajanapadas. You write this down. He belongs to the age of Mahajanapadas. And the age of Mahajanapadas, they are, okay, it is the period of intense change in the society. Period of intense change in society. During the periods of intense change, naturally, people will seek spiritual gurus. This is usual. Okay, whenever there is intense change, intense churning, okay, people will get disheartened, disillusioned. So what they do is they stick onto some philosophies. Yes or no? Okay. That is the reason why most of the spiritual gurus, they are popular in urban areas. Yes, most of the Swamijis, they become popular in urban areas. Why? Because okay, the life is not certain here. Okay, life is very challenging. Okay, and it goes against human nature. So naturally what you do, you try to find some certainty in life. So, okay, what you do is you go to a Baba. Okay, the Baba will say that, okay, I'll give you blessings, there will be certainty in your life, then you'll feel happy and you'll become his follower. Okay, that is how fanatic followers are created. Okay, most of the Babas, okay, Bangalore also is a city of Babas. Okay, many Babas are there. Okay, all of these Babas, they emerge from, okay, this intense churning in society, and the age of Mahajanapadas is also one such period. Okay, and Buddha is not like any other traditional Baba. Okay, many Babas come and go, but Buddha is permanent. Okay, why we are going to talk about? Okay, see, here, there was intense change in society. First and foremost, there was a transition from pastoralism to agriculture. More people, they became settled agriculturists. Then along with that, there was expansion in rural areas. Agricultural expansion was there. Urbanization was there. Suddenly people moved from rural areas to urban areas. And it was becoming difficult for them to follow the traditional Vedic religion, because traditional Vedic religion, it calls for numerous sacrifices and rituals, and in an urban setting, it is difficult to follow them. Then apart from that, Vedic religion was too rigid, okay, too rigid, and it never permitted for money lending. Money lending is considered as a great sin in the traditional Hinduism. Okay, traditional Hinduism may money lending is considered to be a sin. Okay, just like Islam. Islam even considers today also money lending as a sin. So money lending is considered to be a sin. Then apart from that, the traditional Hinduism, it also gave some sanctions against sea travel. Okay, if you cross the sea, you will lose your religion. In modern India also, we talked about 1857 revolt. Okay, soldiers also had this problem because Hinduism says that if you cross the sea, you will lose your religion. And Hinduism, it clearly gives a hierarchy of varnas with Brahmanas at top. But the problem was that during Mahajanapada's period, the Vaishyas became economically rich. Kshatriya became politically very powerful. These two communities, they started considering themselves to be superior to Brahmins. Whereas Hinduism, it never accepted their superiority. So it is at this period, Buddha came and said that, okay, it is not your birth which is going to determine your position in society. Your achievement will determine your position in society. Very, very important idea. Then apart from that, okay, there was also sanction against Shudras and women in Hinduism. Shudras and women are looked down upon. In fact, it is clearly stated in many of the texts that if a Shudra or woman recites Veda, you have to cut their tongue. Okay, if he tries to teach a Brahmin, okay, or if he listens to Veda's recitation, okay, hot metal has to be poured into their ear. This way, Shudras and women were continuously discriminated in Vedic religion. Are you following what I'm trying to say? And Buddha came into the picture and he said that, okay, there is no need for discrimination against any community. And any community can attain moksha with their own efforts. Earlier in Brahmanism, okay, moksha is permitted only for the first three varnas. It means that only a Brahmin, Kshatriya or Vaishya can get moksha. Moksha is not given to either the Shudras or to women. Okay, women and Shudras were denied moksha. Okay, society was in deep churn because of urbanization. Okay, there is some resound, right? Okay, some problem with mic is there. Okay, I'm sensing it. Okay, for my own ears, it is becoming problematic. I don't know about you. Okay, so what was I telling? Okay, you can write the social problems just before Buddha. Social problems, urbanization, position of Shudras and women, position of Vaishyas and Kshatriyas, and okay, the other problem is absolute monarchy is one more problem, because the kings became too powerful. They established large empires. Absolute monarchy is one more issue that the society was facing. Okay, how to control the king? Okay, controlling the king became a difficult problem. Okay, because once the king attains power, he started dominating the society. Earlier, the kings used to be more service oriented. Now they became domination oriented. So all of these are some of the problems which the society was facing. And Gautama Buddha, okay, he emerged as a spiritual guru who tried to, okay, answer or provide solutions to some of these problems. What kind of solutions he has proposed? What is the life story of Buddha? We'll talk about. When it comes to Buddha's life story, Buddha, in fact, he was born as Siddhartha. I think you know about it. Okay, he was born as Siddhartha, and he belongs to a Ghana Sangha. Okay, he belongs to a term, write this term down. He belongs to a Ghana Sangha. Ghana Sangha are republic polities in ancient India. Okay, just write it down. They are republic polities in ancient India. It means that for these polities, there will be no single king. Every family in the kingdom, every family head in the kingdom is considered as a king. Okay, and the decisions are taken more democratically. Okay, that is what is known as a Ghana Sangha. And Buddha is born into a Ghana Sangha, and his father's name is Suddhodana. And he is, okay, one of the kings of this Sakya kingdom. Okay, Sakya Ghana Sangha. One of the kings is Suddhodana, and their capital is Kapilavastu. Kapilavastu is present in Nepal today. Okay, Kapilavastu is their capital. Kapilavastu. And Buddha, he was born at a place called Lumbini. Okay, Lumbini is the place where Buddha was born. Okay, Buddha was born in Lumbini. His capital was Kapilavastu. Okay, and his father's name is Sudodana and his mother's name is Maya. Mother's name is Maya. Okay, and his mother, she died in childbirth. Okay, she died in childbirth. In fact, she delivered Buddha, okay, near a grove. Okay, near a grove means near some plantations. She delivered Buddha, and in the process of delivery itself, she died. Okay, Buddha was a motherless kid, and he had a stepmother by the name of Prajapati Gautami. Prajapati Gautami is his stepmother, and okay, he is named as Gautama Buddha not because of this, because of his Gotra. His Gotra is Gautama Gotra. That is the reason why he is called as Sanskrit. His mother's name is his mother's name is Maya, stepmother's name is Prajapati Gautami, but he is named as Gautama Buddha because of his Gotra, that is Gautama. Gautama was his Gotra, and he is born into a family of Kshatriyas. Okay, you write this down, it's not given there. He's born into a family of Kshatriyas. Okay, he's born into a family of Kshatriyas. And his father was Sudodana, he was a king of Kapilavastu. Okay, Sakyagana, Kapilavastu, he was the king of Kapilavastu. Ethics handout, Karthik. Okay. So he was part of that. And okay, see, at the time of Buddha's birth, okay, his father Sudodana, what he did is he called a soothsayer to the palace. Okay, he was living in a palace and he called a soothsayer. Soothsayer is the woman who tells the future. Yes, soothsayer. Okay, he calls a soothsayer, and this soothsayer comes to the palace of Sudodana, and she starts talking about the future of Buddha, and she tells to Sudodana directly that either your son will be a universal emperor, or he will become a universal monk. Okay, he will become a great monk or a great emperor. Only two options are there. He is anyhow destined for greatness, but whether he will become an emperor or a monk, I don't know. Okay, I don't know whether he will become an emperor or a monk. Okay, this soothsayer tells to his father, and Sudodana immediately he gets alerted. He says that okay, if my son becomes a universal emperor, I will be happy. But if he becomes a sannyasa, okay, a sannyasi, then it is not a good thing for me because my family will not continue if he continues as a monk. Okay, so with this fear, what Sudodana does is, why will a person become a monk? He starts thinking, why will a person become a monk? Okay, by looking at the suffering of life only a person becomes monk. If he understands the suffering of life, then automatically he will be attracted towards sannyasa. Okay, so what Sudodana does is he wants to rise Buddha without any exposure to suffering. With no exposure to suffering, he constructs a big palace for Buddha. Okay, and this palace, it was surrounded by a very high walls, and Buddha was secluded from outside world completely. He was never taken outside. All his teaching, the skills that have been important to him, they were done in the palace. And in the palace, okay, the palace was considered to be a palace of pleasures. Okay, there was no pain anywhere. Okay, whatever Buddha wanted to do, whatever he wanted to play, okay, want to eat, okay, he wanted to drink, whatever he wanted to do, his father used to supply it to him there. And there was no exposure of Buddha to outside world, and this he maintained for nearly 29 years. Okay, till the age of Buddha's 29th year, he maintained this state of affairs with Buddha. And he also felt that, okay, if my son gets married early, then naturally he will not get attracted towards sannyasa. So what he did is, he found a good girl called Yashodhara, and he got her married to Buddha. And both of them had a son too by the name of Rahula. His son's name is Rahula. And He maintained this seclusion of Buddha for nearly 29 years. At the end of 29 years, what happens is Buddha once goes out for a chariot ride. Okay, chariot ride he goes out to, and his favorite horse is this horse called Kantaka. Buddha's favorite horse is Kantaka, and the charioteer of Buddha is known as Channa. Okay, Channa and Kantaka, with these two people, Channa is the charioteer and Kantaka is his horse. Okay, they take a chariot and they go out into the outside world. And once Buddha goes into the outside world, what he sees is he sees four things. Okay, he observes four things. One is, okay, he observes an old man. Okay, he observes an old man, and immediately he asks Channa, okay, who is this creature who is, okay, moving in front of me? He looks like a subhuman being. Okay, he looks like a subhuman being. Who is this person? Okay, he asks, and Channa says that, okay, every person with the time he will become old. Okay, and human life, it ends in old age. Okay, he tells first. Then after that, he moves a little forward. There he sees a sick man. Buddha has been secluded from the outside world, and he didn't know about sickness at any point of time. Then he sees sickness. Okay, then he asks Channa, who is this man? Okay, then he says, okay, this person is afflicted by some disease and he is going to die. Then third thing that he sees is he sees a dead man. Okay, then first time he is introduced to the concept of death. Before that, he thought that, okay, life is permanent. Now first time he is exposed to the concept of death, and he asks the same Channa, saying that what happened to this person. Then he says that this person is dead, and it is natural for all human beings to die at one point of time or the other. Okay, this also was told to Buddha, not Buddha, Siddhartha at that point of time. And after this, okay, after visiting these three people, he sees a person who is a sannyasi, ascetic. Ascetic means sannyasi. And this sannyasi, he is sitting under a tree and he is meditating. Okay, he is sitting under a tree and he is meditating, and he goes to this person. He goes to this person and he asks him, "Arey, kya ho raha hai? Okay, life is so uncertain, unpermanent. Okay, I have seen a old man, sick man, and a dead man. Okay, so it is so impermanent. I am feeling a lot of anxiety now. I will also die. Okay, very soon. Okay, if not soon, at least after a point of time, I will die. So what is permanent in this world?" He asks a question. Okay, if you want to know what is permanent in world, then you have to become a sannyasi. Okay, that person tells. Okay, all 29 years of Suddhodana, okay, gone down the drain. Okay, one exposure to the outside world. Okay, he became what he was meant to become. He was meant to become a sannyasi. So he talks to this person and he gets attracted to the idea of ascetic. He goes back home. Okay, and after going back home, okay, he starts, okay, secluding himself from outside world slowly. Okay, secluding means he becomes more silent. He doesn't talk to his wife, kid. Okay, then Suddhodana understands that something is amiss. Okay, something has happened to Siddhartha. Okay, this person is going to go out of my hand. Okay, this he feels. So what he does is he makes the palace into a prison so that Siddhartha will reside only inside. But one night, with the help of Channa and Kantaka, what he does is he asks them, and Channa, he smuggles Siddhartha out of the palace. Okay, by disguising him as some other person, he smuggles him outside. And they go a little forward, and near the forest, okay, Buddha, he gets down of the chariot and he removes all his ornaments. He throws them away. Okay, and he takes the saffron robes of a monk, and then he travels into the forest. So this is the next event in Buddha's life, which is known as the event of, okay, what is it called? I think Mahabhinishramana. Mahabhinishramana is the next one. Okay, see, I'll tell these technical terms also. Just listen to the narrative first. So in forest, he roams around. Okay, he roams around in forest. Then he was in search of truth. Okay, he was in search of what is permanent in life and what is the cause of human suffering. He is suffering now because he has seen that I'm going to become old, sick, and I'll die. So I want to change this. I want something which is permanent in life. Okay, he starts searching. Okay, he goes to different thinkers, different sannyasis he goes to. He meets them, he talks to them. Sir, I am facing this problem, I am going to die, please help me. Okay, so then this person, no one is going to give him a satisfactory answer. But one of the saints says that, okay, if you follow, okay, very strict ascetichood, very strict sannyasa, don't consume any food, don't drink water, and you perform the meditation that I am prescribing you, okay, then you will be able to attain, okay, what is permanent in life, you will be able to understand. Okay, then this person, Buddha, what he says is, okay, please teach me this meditation practice. Okay, and this person who taught meditation to Buddha is known as Alara Kalama. Okay, I've given the name of Alara Kalama. You just see this. Okay, Alara Kalama, he teaches meditation to this person. Okay, and Buddha, he is young, energetic. Okay, 29 years of age. So what he did is, whatever Alar Kalama proposed, okay, he practiced it with utmost rigor. With utmost rigor, he practices it. What he does is he stops consuming food, okay, then he stops consuming water, and he makes his needs very minimal, and he conducts one of the most strictest meditation that a person can conduct. He becomes so thin, okay, in fact all his blood vessels and his bones are visible to the outside world, okay, he becomes so thin, okay, he grows a beard, okay, all of these things he does, and he was conducting these strict rituals and austere practices, and one day he tries to stand up, and while standing up he falls down. He was almost on the verge of death. Then he says that, okay, whatever meditation practice has been taught by Alar Kalama, it is wrong, because I am trying for something which is permanent and I am becoming impermanent. Yes or no? I am going to die if I continue this kind of practices. Bolke, he desists or he moves away from strict practices. Okay, strict practices say he moves away from, and what he does is he conducts some simple meditation practices he starts. And while practicing these simple meditation practices, he moves from one village to another village. And a sannyasi at that point of time, he should not cook or produce his own food. That was a rule. So he has to beg. Okay, the sannyasi is a person who eats begged food. So he also moves from one town to another. He begs, and in one place, okay, which is known as the place called what is the place name? 1 second. Okay, Bodh Gaya. Okay, in Bodh Gaya, what he does is, okay, Bodh Gaya, there is a river called Niranjana River. Okay, there is a river called Niranjana River. He goes to the village. Okay, he begs for some alms. Some woman, she gives him milk. Okay, and after that he comes and sits beneath a peepal tree. A peepal tree on the banks of Niranjana River. He sits beneath a peepal tree and he meditates for nearly 49 days. Okay, 49 days he meditates, and at the end of these 49 days, he attains a state called Nirvana. Okay, he attains a state called Nirvana, and this Nirvana, okay, Nirvana means it is blowing out of desire. It is a state of supreme bliss and unshakable serenity, letting go of the illusion of self, annihilation of all passions, hatred and delusion. Okay, hatred and delusion, all of these things are gone. Okay, and it happens at Sanchi. I'm sorry, I told Bodh Gaya, right? It is Sanchi is the place. I think Sanchi and Bodh Gaya are one and the same. I'm sorry. Okay, Sanchi and Bodh Gaya, they are one and the same. Any which name you want to call it with, okay, it's fine. So he meditates for 49 days, and at the end of 49 days, he attains this state called Nirvana. Okay, Nirvana has many meanings to it. Okay, many meanings to it, not one. It is also called as blowing out of desire. It is also called as supreme bliss and unshakable serenity, letting go of the illusion of self, annihilation of passion, hatred and delusion. All of these things he loses, and he attains a state called Buddhahood. He attains a state called Buddhahood. Buddhahood is the state that he attains. And he says that, he proclaims to the outer world that I have attained Nirvana. Okay, I have attained Nirvana. And he preaches his experience. He tries to translate it into words, and he preaches his first sermon at a place called Sarnath. In Sarnath, there is a deer park. In this deer park, okay, he gathers around himself some 5 disciples. And here, he preaches his message for the first time. Okay, deer park, Sarnatha, first sermon he proclaims. And after that, okay, he moves across the length and breadth of central India and eastern India. Okay, he never came down south. He moved across central India and eastern India. He didn't even go to western India. Okay, throughout his life, he was moving from one place to another, and he was preaching his doctrine of Nirvana. Okay, and he formulated a new spiritual community based on the idea of Buddhism. Okay, new spiritual commune on the basis of Buddhism. Spiritual commune is called Buddhism. He formulates his own doctrine onto how to resolve life's problems. How to resolve life problem ke bare mein. He formulates a doctrine which is known as later day Buddhism. And here, just see this technical terms. The conception means, the conception of Buddha is called as Avakranti. Avakranti is conception of Buddha. Okay, Maya gets a dream, okay, of a white elephant. And okay, Maya is the mother. She dreams about a white elephant. And this is the scene of conception of Buddha, which is called as Avakranti. And the second stage is called Jati. Jati is birth of Buddha. And here it is usually depicted on Maya on lotus. Maya is sleeping on a lotus. This means that Buddha is born. Then the next one is Mahabhinishkramana, which is also known as a renunciation of Buddha. Mahabhinishkramana is called renunciation, and it is represented by a bridled horse and an attendant holding an umbrella. Bridled horse means a well decorated horse, and an attendant holding an umbrella. Umbrella is, in fact, Chhatri is an emblem of royalty. I think you know, right? Chhatri is an emblem of royalty. So he holds this Chhatri and he stands. That is what is known as Mahabhinishkramana. Next one is stage in Buddha's life is called Sambodhi, when he attained enlightenment. And the symbol of enlightenment is Bodhi tree. Bodhi tree. And the next stage is called Dharma Chakra Parivartana. Dharma Chakra Parivartana, that is the first sermon, and it is represented by wheel, Sarnath. Okay, the first preaching of Buddha at Sarnath is known as Dharma Chakra Parivartana. And the next one is known as Mahaparinirvana, which is called death of Buddha, and it is represented by Stupa. Okay, finally he died in a place called Kusinara in Uttar Pradesh. Yes, so this is the life story of Buddha. So what was his solution to the problem of old age, sickness and death? UPSC once asked a question. Okay, when Buddha came out of the palace, okay, arrange the following events or following persons according to the chronology of how Buddha has seen them. Okay, so you have to remember, first he saw old man, next only sick man, and after that only dead man and a sannyasi. Okay, the order is also important. Old, sick and dead along with sannyasa. Okay, this order was also asked as a question at one point of time. This finishes the biography of Buddha. Then Buddha, what he preached, okay, what was his conception of Buddhism as a religion? How did he try to solve the problem of this non-permanent nature of the world? Okay, non-permanent nature of the world was his problem. Okay, and he was also suffering because he wanted to maintain the world as it is, okay, full of pleasures. But he understood that humans by very nature, they are going to become old, sick and they will die. And this is something which was not digestible by Buddha. Okay, he was not able to accept this. So what he did, he searched, okay, far and wide. He learned meditation. He tried austere practices, did not work out. Then he went for simple meditation techniques, and finally he got something called enlightenment. And this enlightenment, it tried to resolve the problems of humanity. Okay, how he attempted to solve these problems. Okay, what was his philosophy and stuff we are going to discuss tomorrow. Is this fine? Okay, I think you have understood the concepts which have been dealt till now, okay, properly. So tomorrow we are going to continue our discussion on Buddhism. Tomorrow we are also going to discuss Jainism, 6 schools of Hindu philosophy, Ajivikas, Charvakas. Okay, many schools are there. Okay, come prepared. Okay, you read the handouts once before. Okay, once before you read the handout and then only come to class. Is this fine? Okay, thank you for your time. Have a good day.